We are beginning the meeting shortly. We will be conducting tonight's meeting in person as well as in virtual setting using Zoom. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting tonight on Wave Channel 18 and online through the city's YouTube channel. If you would like to participate in live public comment via the Zoom platform, please refer to the agenda for instructions. Chair Hutchinson will begin the meeting momentarily.
Thank you. I would like to call to order the November 20th, 2024 City of Lincoln Regular Planning Commission. Before I ask for a roll call, I would like to just take a moment in honor of Councilman Bill Lordson, who we lost just a few weeks ago, and I have a moment of silence for him. Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Eric Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Jerry Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner McKinney,
Here.
Commissioner Reedy,
Here.
Vice Chairman Gilbert,
Here.
Chair Hutchinson,
Here.
and Commissioner Eklund is not here.
Thank you very much. The next order of business, there she is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to ask incoming Council Member John Reedy to lead us. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we go further, are there any agenda modifications? Okay, hearing none, thank you. The next order of business is public comment on non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. And Secretary, do we have any speaker statements?
Yes, I have nobody online first of all. And then cards that I received, David Lockwood.
Thank you.
If you can come up into the podium.
Hello, welcome. My name is David Lockwood. There we go. Hello, my name is David Lockwood. I want to thank you to everyone who's on this board. I recognize that many of you are volunteers and or are only here with a stipend, and we appreciate your service to our community. My reason in being here tonight is to voice a general concern in some of the way that things have been done in hopes that processes can be fixed moving forward, as well as to seek specific help against the quality of life and financial impact happening to myself and my neighbors by the Wildwood Pulte Homes development. The draw of Lincoln for many families and so many who've moved here is the smaller town feel, somewhat close to amenities, but without all the big city problems caused by overpopulation. With every new housing development that is approved, a bit of that draw is lost. The current experience that my neighbors and I are having on the west part of First Street is as follows. We've been told conflicting things over the years by city employees when trying to research what was happening with the land. Less than 1 year ago, I was told that there was no specific application on file for the space. Any development would likely be more than 5 years away. The city's website at the time did not show that there was anything happening, the ArcGIS website. Or it didn't show there was anything updated. It showed one specific thing from a long time ago. Recent construction began right behind our homes with no notice to us. And upon investigating it, we learned that mostly two-story homes will be built right behind our homes, impacting much of our quality of life and the value of our homes. Current residents are being told we have no real say in the aesthetics of fences that will be going up. They're going to be raising the grading 2 to 3 feet and then building 6-foot fences on top of that. It's going to drastically impact the usability of our, the visuals of our lots. Grading plans don't seem to account for current lots and our drainage that goes in that direction. Finding out that comment about any of this to try and make any impact was 6 years ago. Many of us have lived in the neighborhood 5 years, and all of a sudden building is starting and trying to do something about it, finding out that we don't really have much to do about it. The parks plan in this community are tiny and they're up against freeway walls, making it both undesirable to use. And even if there is space for anything beyond just grass, it's right next to a freeway. I don't think kids should be playing in a park up against freeway where there's going to be car exhaust. I do trust that all of you on this board are here because you have the goal of continuing to make Lincoln an amazing place to live, which it is, it has been. And you view your role as one to care for and protect our current residents. I believe that about you all. The way this is going down, it feels to those of us in the neighborhood like this is just catering to developers and city revenue rather than prioritizing the needs of those in the community. So I seek your help for my sake and my neighbor's sake, as well as for any future occurrences of this type of development that I fear will continue to happen in the future. I believe that some of the changes that could happen is improvements to the way that homeowners are notified when a project is going to be happening right next to their property. Public
you.
notice.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, the time of 3 minutes is up, but thank you for your comments.
May I finish my paragraph at least?
2 sentences.
I just want to ask for your help. I thank you for what you're doing, and I want help both for us, recognizing that our property values and our quality of life of our homes are being impacted by this, and we had no knowledge of this. And I ask that changes could be made so that this doesn't happen in the future.
Thank you. You said we had a second one? Second person?
Chair Hutchison, I do have another card. However, the subject is on item 8C and 8E. It's to your discussion. They are both consent items.
All right.
So-
Normally, the consent agenda, excuse me, the consent calendar is passed with one motion, and we don't have public comments or open comments unless something is requested to be moved. Commissioner Gilbert, did you have a comment?
Yes, if there's somebody in the public who would like to speak to the item, I will pull it from the consent calendar, so they will have an opportunity to speak to the commission before we take action on it, if that's in agreement with the rest of the commissioners.
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's going to be item 8C and 8E. I don't have any other cards. Are there any other public comments that are not on the agenda?
Maybe we should inform the person that we're going to take the comments when we open up that agenda item.
Yeah, although as I say, it is,
Well, that we have to follow the proper protocol, so thank you.
and as I say, we will pull those 2 items from the consent agreement, and we will discuss the issues at that particular time, okay? But thank you for the prior speaker. The next item on the agenda is informational items from staff. Are there any informational items?
Yeah, just wanted to report out on last Tuesday was a big day. Was it Wednesday? Wednesday. Wednesday. Doubleheader meeting, 10 a.m. stakeholder meeting in this room and 6 p.m. Community-wide workshop. Both were well attended and there was very enthusiastic participation and exchange of ideas. It really just was an intro to the project. So we were excited about getting that launched. And we will be having a December Planning Commission meeting. Unfortunately, there was a error on the Gold Country Media, and the project didn't get posted. That was supposed to be heard tonight. So to accommodate that, we will be looking to have that hearing. And then with that, I think for January, we're going to try and cancel the January meeting. The third Wednesday of January is literally the 15th. So it's a pretty tight turnaround after the first. So we can take a break there, and that will set us up well for February.
I have
Thank you.
two items to just FYI, the commission. On December 4th, LAFCO is conducting the Village 5A specific plan annexation hearing. So previously, the entire Village 5 failed last year. So we did a redraw, restart, and Village 5A portion, smaller portion of Village 5 is now agendized next month. So December 4th, yeah, a special meeting at 4 o'clock in Auburn, Placer County Board of Supervisors Chambers. So it's exciting for us because it'll bring forth, a lot of opportunities, economic, housing and whatnot. So look forward to getting that approved officially, hopefully. One last item, we know about the AT&T saga, right? So the design review permit was approved by your commission. For following that approval, their effort to appeal their CUP at the water tower, which your commission denied, it was withdrawn because once the design review was inked, basically that took the water tower out of the equation. Basically, they appealed your denial back in May. So it got paused until we move forward with the design review. So that got approved by your commission, and then now appeals were drawn from the CUP. So now we're done and over with from the water tower. So we're able to preserve that the way it is. So just update for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next item on the, yes.
So they should be on the website. Oh, no, they are not. They are not. They were not recorded meetings. No.
Oh.
Yeah, no. The meeting the community meeting was interactive, and all the televisions in downstairs were used for, they were stations where you would go to that television and input a pin onto Google Earth. And then the staff was taking notes onto what you liked about that location. So one was focused on Lincoln and one was focused on outside Lincoln. And then on the third area where there were television or computers, that was a survey. So it was really an interactive meeting. So there was no Zooming or anything like that, recording.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, the next item on our agenda is disclosure of any ex parte communication. Do we have any? Seeing none, thank you. The next item,
I guess I have something
all right,
I should report. I was approached and then was nominated and elected to the Sierra College. Well, there's a little history. They sold $320 million worth of bonds, and they have a board that reviews all their expenditures. And I was approached if I could join that, and I said yes, and they voted me in. So I'll be attending my first meeting this month. And I think it's important for everybody to know about my involvement in that, even though it doesn't affect our community directly. There are people who I will be working with, I guess, both on the board and on our sub-board, that could cause some kind of conversations that might involve business in Lincoln. So I'll do my best to share it. When that comes up, I'll share it with all of you so you're aware of what's going on. So I'm reaching into the future a little.
thank you. The next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. All matters on the consent agenda are considered routine business and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the request to remove a specific item for separate action is received. And we do have that request for two items, item 8C and 8E. Did I have it correctly? Thank you.
That is what is on the card, correct?
Yes, and so those of you who would like to speak to that, when we address it, you may certainly do that, and we will invite you to speak. Do any of my colleagues wish to remove an item from the consent agenda that I have not mentioned?
I think we ought to remove all three. I have some comments that would deal with all three, so,
There were four. Oh,
yeah.
no,
Not
not
the
the
minutes, I'm
not the-
sorry.
Yeah, not the,
Just
yeah,
8D,
not the minutes.
8D
Okay,
as well.
so we're
Sorry.
going to remove 8C, 8D, and 8E. All right, okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve items 8, A and B.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All right, and may we have a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, who second?
That was me.
Thank you. Roll call, or would you like a voice call?
I have to abstain on the item 8B as I did not attend the October meeting. And so I think we can do it by a voice without having to do a specific roll call in this instance.
Awesome. All in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Oh,
That's
and
my abstention.
yes, your abstention for
Okay, thank you.
the October meeting.
Thank you so much. All right, the next item then is going to be 8C, which is the Liberty at Lincoln Village 3 Meritage Home, a specific development plan and permit design review application for 99 single-family new homes in Village 3 of the Liberty at Lincoln Master Plan Community. And the gentleman who spoke in the beginning, I believe this is the project that you spoke, no, I was wrong. Oh, 8E, all right. Thank you. My hearing isn't as wonderful.
We're on
as it used
8C,
to be.
correct?
So we're on
8C.
8C right now. And who? on-
Adam Keen?
Everybody. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is my first time ever participating in something like this. I'm a longtime resident. I grew up in the neighboring town of Rockland, but I purchased here approximately 17 years ago. So anyways, been here for a while. I don't live in town here, but I live just out of town off of Wise, but I have to travel through town here and, make my way down Highway 65 and witness all of the development that's been going on. So, I realize I'm speaking on something that you guys had a hearing back in October. So thank you for bringing this, back up. I apologize. All this was actually given to me just only a few short hours ago, and I said I have to show up. So, anyways, I wanted to just speak for not only myself, my family, my neighbors. My neighbors have all they're all retired. And I know I'm speaking for them up here. And, my concerns with everything that's been going on, kind of to follow up this gentleman earlier, is the rapid development that's been going on and how many homes have been going into this wonderful town of Lincoln. I'm raising two boys here, and it's becoming too much. I mean, I can't say it other than that, but the trips through town, the packed grocery stores, I mean, it's just, I don't know how many of you live here in town that have been affected by the astronomical amount of growth that we've had with people moving into this town, but it, I mean, we have traffic backing all the way up to 12 Bridges in the morning. My point is that the infrastructure that is in place now for this town is eons behind the development of which you all have been voting on and allowing these developers to come in here and pay lots of money to the town of Lincoln. It's millions and millions of dollars that obviously are funneling into this, into this town here. And like I said, I speak for not only myself, but many of my neighbors. I would really love to appeal and any type of further development in this town. It needs to catch up. The infrastructure needs to catch up. There's still only a Raley's, there's still only one Safeway, there's a very tiny little neighborhood Walmart, okay? And, you know, something's got to change here, and I hope you can take what I've said here tonight into consideration and any type of development that's in the works right now. And, you know, think about the people who have lived here for a very long time. I know there's a lot of money involved, tax revenue and everything else, but, you know, there's a lot to be said. I could say a lot more on, you know, where the police department is and how we're crime statistics. I mean, I can go on and on this. Like I said, I just found out about this just a few short hours ago, so I didn't have
Thank you.
any
I'm-
time to prepare for this.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sorry, your 3
thank you for your
minutes-
time. Yep.
Your 3 minutes are up, and I'm sure that many of us can feel your pain. When I moved to Lincoln 25 years ago, there were less than 7,000 people here, and so I certainly understand it, and I understand the pain of development, and of course, it isn't something that the city looks at and makes those decisions. We are bound by state requirements as well. And so we are fortunate, in my mind, at least, that we can help work with it. Our development department is very cognizant of these issues. As you know, we just lost a sales tax, Measure B, that might have mitigated part of the 65 issues. So it's a challenge, and I can probably speak for all of us that we feel your pain with growth, but at least we're fortunate that we can mitigate it. And of course, we do have a general plan that has been in existence, which was award-winning for this community. So would any of my colleagues like to have something to add to that?
I have,
Yes.
first of all, just for the record, we all live in Lincoln, so that there's no misunderstanding. One of the requirements to serve on the city council or the planning commission is that you live in Lincoln. Number two, we come from various parts of Lincoln. And so we individually and collectively have a sensitivity for what's happening in the retirement communities and what's happening in the family residential communities, et cetera. Next, I'd say that the project we heard some negatives about was approved prior to the individual moving to the community. If you move to a community, it's your responsibility to understand what's going to happen around you. Not what somebody wishes might happen, but in fact what's happened. When I served on the city council here for 8 years, I had people come to me with a particular project and say, and this was in 2015 or 14, around there, we don't want those homes going in there, you need to turn them down. I called the staff from the city into the meeting. The project was approved in 1998. They just had problems with their financing and a few other things. And so now they were ready to go forward. And if we had turned them down, you would have seen one of the biggest legal actions against Lincoln, and we'd be paying off that legal action still today for denying them their rights, which they had earned. They had applied. It had been approved by the Planning Commission, by the City Council. The staff had put all their input. The community had an opportunity to come and speak. So we can't go back and say to a builder or a developer, what we gave you as an approval under the laws, we're taking it away from you now. So you need to understand that there's a master plan which, as my colleague indicated, was an award-winning master plan. We're going to have 120 to 130,000 people when Lincoln is built out. That's maybe over the next 20, 30, 40 years, depending upon interest rates and a whole bunch of other factors. So you need to understand that an action you might see before a committee or a commission or the city council that they're taking may go back before you move to the community. And even if it happened while you were in the community, you have the responsibility, and I know I did not go to City Hall when I moved here 21 years ago and say, what's going in across the street from me? If something went in across the street from me that I didn't like, it's on me. It's not on them. They came in and got it approved. So you need to understand the process. We're very sensitive to what's going on. It's very common in a city today for the infrastructure improvements, streets, roads, to come in a lot of cases after a lot of the development comes in because the city doesn't have the money to front it. And so you'll drive through Lincoln and there's development on one side of the street and there's an adequate road and a sidewalk. And on the other side of the street, there's nothing. When the person comes in and develops it, we'll get the rest of the infrastructure done. So I want to share that with everybody because it's not the city council and it's not the staff. We do what we find under the law is the things that we have to do. And unfortunately, it's upon you and me as a citizen to find that out before we make that, I'm going to buy here, because if you buy here, whatever was approved across the street, they've got their approval and they're going to build. So thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple comments. Thanks, Adam, for getting up to speak. I know first time, a little scary. It's great when public comes out and gets involved. So thank you for coming. Familiar face from high school, I think. Hadn't seen in a long time. But great to see you show up and share your comments. So, you know, I agree there's lots of challenges, you know, as, you know, my colleagues have been explaining, and that's great, you know, to hear about it. We share a lot of the same concerns, especially as, you know, a young family as well in Lincoln. And I too know it's kind of painful, you know, hopeful that as infrastructure catches up and whatnot, you know, a lot of these things kind of catch up. But along the lines, since this is your first time, I just want to encourage you to, you know, you have concerns like this. It's good for the city council to hear as well. You know, they pay attention to planning commission comments and whatnot, but there's also the same opportunity at city council. And, you know, as a planning commission, we're kind of looking at guidelines, kind of like the law, you know, do these fit in the plan that's been approved? So that's a lot of what we look at. And so we say like, yeah, it fits in the plan that was approved. But a lot of these issues too, city council has a little bit more say and whatnot in, you know, especially if they're going to try to like stop something. That's kind of out of our planning commission purview, but city council can definitely, you know, look at more things like that. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Jerry Johnson?
Yeah, I was going to speak with some concerns that I had about the three consent items, H, C, D, and E. And I'm not going to vote against them because I think it's way too far down the line to do that. But we talk about the award-winning general plan that we have. And sometimes it appears to me, at least, that we're abiding by the law of the general plan, but not the spirit of it. For example, none of the housing that we're going to be considering today can possibly be considered innovative housing as required by the general plan. There is no income integration within those neighborhoods. There is no affordable housing. There is no apartments or duplexes or condominiums. it's all just the ticky-tacky, oh-hum housing that we're presented with today. There is no de-emphasis on garages, no alleys, no side-loaded garages. And it's kind of a disappointment for me, who actively was involved in preparing that general plan, to see the results that we see. It's a disappointment. And I hope that we can do better in the future, but these things are less, like my colleagues have said up here, have long since been approved, and we're far down the line. But I'm hopeful that as new projects come forward, we can look at the spirit of that general plan and do a better job.
Thank you. Any of my other colleagues have a comment?
Yeah, I'll say something really quick. Again, thank you for coming here, and even though this has already been approved, your comments can still be taken, and it can still be applied to our future perspective. And if I can offer a little glimmer of optimism in regards to your concerns, both of your concerns, both of you that spoke, we still have an opportunity to kind of, in essence, hit the reset with the new villages that are coming. It might not be in your backyard, but that's our opportunity to really capture the things that we want to do and improve on the things that we're seeing currently. So I would venture to say that, while things are looking a certain way right now, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the rest of the future of Lincoln. So I very much value your perspective and your input, and it's not going to waste.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, are we ready to, because we moved these from the consent agenda, I'm asking, do we need to take a resolution on each one of these?
That is correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. May I have a, excuse me, yes?
We are on 8C.
I don't know that we're looking at anything on First Street.
I think that's
The-
8D.
Oh, is
E?
that 8E?
That would
E.
be 8E.
When we come to that, because we will be handling each of these separately.
No problem.
No problem. Again, it's very refreshing to have people come and speak. We do want to hear you, so thank you. All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Thank you. May we have a,
I'm so sorry, I missed a second. Thank you.
Commissioner Gilbert?
I'll do a roll call since it's a resolution.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner McKinney?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Gilbert?
Yes.
Commissioner Eklund?
Yes.
Commissioner Eric Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Jerry Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reedy?
Yes.
Chair Hutchinson?
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Our next item is item 8D, Liberty at Lincoln Village 5 Woodside Homes. May I have a motion, please?
Item 8C, 8D, excuse me. No one had.
Yeah, he had wanted all three of them off the consent.
Any more comments?
No, I think it,
Mine are relative to all three, I think.
do I have a second for 8D?
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Vice Chairman Gilbert?
Yes.
Commissioner McKinney?
Yes.
Commissioner Eklund?
Yes.
Commissioner Eric Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Jerry Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reedy?
Yes.
And Chair Hutchinson?
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Our next item is 8E, and I would like to invite the lady in the audience to come and speak to us for 3 minutes.
Please state your
Hello.
name.
My name is Jana Lloyd. I live on Surges Court, right off of First Street. My home will be backed up to the development that's coming in. I did do some research. According to the builder, when I bought my home, the Schreiber family farm was back there, and they would never sell. There would never be any development back there. We paid a hefty lot fee, extra lot fee to live there, and now a wall of homes is going in behind me. When I moved here, we moved here from Alberta, California, which is southwest of here, a sleepy town. I moved out here to live in a sleepy little town, and I know it was going to grow, but the rate at which it's growing and these teeny houses. I have a small business here in Lincoln. I'm a pest control. I'm a widow. I run this on my own. And I go into these neighborhoods where these homes are so tight that I'm a small woman, and I can't even stretch my arms out. This kind of building, I don't even know where it's coming from, these walls of homes. So for 25 years, I've looked out on the cattle and even Highway 65, no big deal. The pheasants, the ducks that have been landing out there, and now I'm going to have a wall of 2-story homes behind my house. And it's disappointing that we can't come up with a better plan of homes than to build these wall of houses that blocks everybody. So I've been here 25 years. I'm part of I moved in. When I moved in, it was a small little community, 11,000, 7,000, something, I don't know. Now what are we at like 55,000, and we're going to grow to 140,000? Okay, fine, but can't we slow down and have more homes that are like my neighborhood, where they have bigger lots and they're not these 2-story little rat traps that are just invading our community? I thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing your concerns. And again, we certainly appreciate and understand your comments. Anyone wish to? Yes, Commissioner
Chair
Reedy?
Hutchinson,
Yes.
sorry. Adam Keen, you also put 8E. Chair, would you allow more comments from him?
This is on 8E. Yes, he spoke to. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Commissioner Reedy?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify a few things. One is the map for this project and the neighboring community where she lives. Do I read this right, that this map was approved in 2019?
Yes, with the specific plan and the general development plan at the same time, the tentative map was processed as well and approved.
So where all the homes are and,
Yes.
right, okay.
Yeah.
And then my second question is that the neighboring community low density, and is all of this low density?
Yes, this is all low density.
So this is all this, does the specific plan, and I apologize for not being familiar with it at the moment, but the specification for minimum and maximum lot sizes in this community and the neighboring one, what's the delta? if any?
They're pretty on par. They're for the other community, kind of the average lot size is 65 to 7,000 square feet. This is pretty much on par with that.
Okay, and the other person spoke about elevation.
Mhm.
Is this project going to be at the same elevation, or is it actually going to be higher than the existing?
SP, do you want to comment on?
We can't hear you. You'll-
Yeah.
Yeah, can't hear you.
Mel, do you know the grade?
Be at the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could
have to
answer
be
the
if you need-
question,
Yes,
that'd be great.
we're recording everything.
Yeah, to clarify, the lots, currently, many of our homes sit at the level of First Street, and our yards slope down, and their plan is to bring it all up or higher than our yards and to build that way, which is going to affect all the drainage of water that goes out of the back of our yards and everything. So that's kind of how that situation works. Does that
Well, I
make sense?
assume the drainage is taken care of by engineering, but my question was primarily if where the foundations were, it's essentially going to be substantially similar to where yours are, as opposed to being.
Yeah,
several
we've
feet
looked
higher.
down into a field for all this time, and now
Right.
they're saying they're gonna bring it up and then build 2-story homes from that point up. So
So
we've had to look down
I-
and now.
I
the homes are-
personally would prefer to have our senior engineer kind of speak to the grades of the plans,
Yeah.
which SP man is here to kind of provide that. He's kind of the expert on that.
Good evening,
That's where the
Chair.
foundation is.
Thank you.
So we are reviewing the improvement plans for both Phase 1 and Phase 2. My understanding is, gentleman lives, the developer's bringing in fill. So right now, that property is sitting low, a few feet, 3 feet below the existing development. So they're gonna bring fill and then, but for the grading part, we always make sure that, there's no cross drain between the properties, so we'll make sure that there's no cross drainage. So Peary property, this Pulte Homes, they're gonna drain towards the property, not away from the property. And similarly, these guys, the existing subdivision is designed such that it retains and processes all of the generated on-site drainage through their drainage system. So we do not allow any cross drainage. That's the number one.
Excuse me, we can't.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
We can't
Yeah.
allow it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask some questions which might help you. Is the foundation level, as my colleague asked earlier, of the two developments equal?
We have no idea at this point. We don't have the building plans yet.
Ah, I see.
So the lot pads are still being reviewed, so we don't,
Exactly.
they're pretty similar, but we don't have the details yet. We just had one review.
Now, proper engineering, I've been around this for 45 years, but I'm not a professional. Proper engineering would say you would not want one higher than the other where it could cause that to drain into that other habitated property, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
So
when
that
the
was,
plans, when the plans do come in, you will make sure that the concern he has is addressed and that it has proper engineering.
absolutely.
drainage.
That's the first thing we look, our grading regulations prohibit cross drainage across properties. So that's the number one thing we look at
Great.
when we do plans.
Thank you.
So that would become a condition of approval then.
Yeah, that's a
Those things
design,
are-
this a muni
Yeah,
code, it's a
design.
design
Yeah.
standard.
Thank you.
Very good.
Well, am I clear that there's also concern that the property to be developed is sitting lower than the current development? And they're concerned it's going to come up higher than where it is now? Does it have to be raised or can it stay where it currently is?
So they're bringing in dirt, they're bringing in fill. So a lot of that is really depending on the engineer who's designing it. We have a limited say unless there's a code requirement or a zoning restriction on the height, which I'm engineer, so planning would understand more, that you would control the maximum height on a property, but essentially the drainage is what dictates where the pads gonna be, how they drain, how the property would drain, and so that's all set up by the designer. So whether they need to bring in more fill, whether they need to cut, it's really up to the grading engineer who's designing it.
Do you
For
know
us,
if
it's-
they try to keep it lower if they can? Or is there any perspective or desire for them to keep it lower or as low as possible so it's not higher?
I have
It just
no-
has to do with the draining.
Yeah, it has to do with grading and the drainage.
Okay.
So just to kind of jump in, on the conceptual grading plans, which are included as part of the agenda items, the grades are showing a couple feet lower for the tentative conceptual grading plans for this compared to the First Street properties. So again, there are some subtle changes that happen at the improvement plan stage. However, that's, right now they're operating.
Yeah, I would just, to jump on the bandwagon here,
I don't think.
to
we should
fill
be-
it, to fill
I
it
don't
and
think we
pad it
should
up
be
is more
discussing this.
expensive. It
We're- would
requires more
assume.
work and it doesn't make sense. So it's not like they
They
are
want
looking
to,
to get it higher and
yeah.
we are so far off of what this item is about. It's
Yeah.
gotten a little unwieldy, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments before we, yes,
Uh,
Commissioner Johnson?
I was just gonna say, it's kind of moved outside of our purview
Yes.
tonight, but are we able to just give direction? I mean, sounds like it's gonna be discussed in the future.
Yeah,
Like as a, it's a
100%.
concern.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, we're all concerned with
Staff
growth
was in
here.
this meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and,
Right.
and we're talking about the general plan, we're talking about specific plans. We went through this specific plan and we're looking at the teeth that it has and how it claws back to the general plan and the shoulds and the shalls and the ought tos and all those kind of weak nexuses that are just embedded. I mean, you look at it from the perspective of staff, people come in and they say, this checks the box, again, and that's but like, what can we do to strengthen that or tie it back to that general plan? I mean, if you look at the SUDB design guidelines, they have pictures of these beautiful little craftsman homes and et cetera, and you're like, oh, wow, like, that'd be amazing. But like, the reality is, I mean, look at the entire 65 corridor. These are tract homes, there's a cost benefit there with the developer. They're looking to build cheaper product and we're in a housing crisis, yada, yada. So to what degree do we find that balance and where do we fight those fights? And I think another interesting point I'd like to make along the lines of what Jerry brought up is like, a lot of these developments in and of themselves are gated, walled off communities. So it's really just the folks in those communities who are going to be affected by those designs. So the citywide impact, we should be fighting those fights maybe for those internal communities, but like maybe we need to look at like, are we going to allow these communities to be gated and walled off? Then it matters because we'll be walking around the neighborhood and being like, oh, that's a cute home. But we're not going into those developments. They are completely isolated. So there's some bigger questions that staff can embark on as we look at this. And I think to Whitney's point, we want to start off on some of the fresh stuff too. That's going to be easier. I mean, this stuff we're inheriting plans that we're laid and put in place. So
Sometimes
we
years
get it.
ago.
We get it. We
Yes.
hear it. It's
Yes.
hard for us. So we'll do our best, but
I
we're going to fight
understand.
that fight too. And we're going to think about these things and we're looking at design where we can fight those fights to make it better. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're ready to vote now.
In 2019, but for homeowners like us, there's been no communication about any of this stuff that directly impacts our homes, our home values, our view, our quality of life.
Do you want to speak to the noticing? And I don't want to just punt this out as like, we noticed the project,
Because we're getting into-
but we do have like, we have procedures that we actually have to follow in noticing that are pretty cut and dry for the sake of kind of covering those noticing requirements. For us, in the sense of like, can we do more to promote projects and things like, we do have to abide by certain notification procedures. There's a ton of information on our website. So I think to the point of Peter and that getting involved, coming, to the website, like we have a development activity map that's current and up to date, and it's pretty impressive. It may not have
It's been
been.
up to date, and it's really
Yeah.
hard to read for a
Okay.
layperson who doesn't understand development terminology.
Well, then you're
and-
welcome to,
Yeah.
come in and
And
And you can
I-
get a hold of
speak to
staff.
staff.
I would
too,
like
yeah.
to,
I
yeah,
did, and staff
yeah.
told me things that were not accurate.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
would
part of the
like
reason
to
I'm here.
invite you to, of course, go to a city council meeting, certainly attend more planning commission meetings. We like to see the public there. I think as far as website stuff, I would think that there are people within the city who would be able to give you some information if you're having trouble understanding some of it. I mean, I can appreciate where you're seeing, this is step one,
Right.
and now we're getting into the weeds that really are not in our purview. And so what I'm going to ask now is, may I have a motion?
I'll move to approve item 8E.
E?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner McKinney,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Gilbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Eklund,
Yes.
Commissioner Eric Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jerry Johnson, Commissioner Reedy,
Yes.
Chair Hutchinson.
Yes. Thank you. Item passes unanimously. The next item on our agenda is general business, and there is no general business on this agenda.
Public hearings tonight.
Oh, well, then there are no
There are
public
not, yeah.
hearings either, so I skipped over that. And then under commissioner comments, do any of my commissioners have a comment?
I'd, oh, good. Please.
I'm just going to encourage those that came tonight, if you have questions about the processes related to development, make an appointment with the planning staff. Come meet with one of our senior planners or one of our planners to get an overview of how planning is done here and what the general plan is, what's the purpose of the general plan, where you can find information, how, as opposed to directly maybe going to a council meeting, because I think that and get involved. There's lots of opportunities for members to get involved on commissions, even this one. We have openings on the Planning Commission from time to time. There's opportunities to become one of us and be part of it. So I would encourage you to start with staff before just maybe attending a city council meeting. And it is your right. I don't want to at all dissuade you from using your rights, but certainly become educated in advance.
Thank you.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
The public
public
can't
comment.
speak unless they're at the microphone.
Yeah, yeah. And we're,
This is commission comments anyway.
The problem is, we don't get callbacks. We don't get return phone calls. So we hit walls. This is affecting our living, but we hit walls. So that's the problem. So we
don't-
come
thank
here.
you.
If you don't get a call back, you call one of us, you'll get your call back.
You'll always get a call
You'll
back
always
from
get a
one of
call
us.
back.
Thank you.
But it's already in the plan. We want to talk to the builder and what's actually in the plan and what's going to happen behind us and how this is going to play out.
And as I said, if they don't return your call, if you call me, you'll talk to them.
Okay?
All right.
Peter Gilbert?
Peter Gilbert.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other commissioner comments?
Christian, I apologize for being unable to attend the meeting, the workshop, and I still want very much to be involved, and so
Absolutely.
keep us in the loop.
Yep, we're going to have aggregating the comments, and the presentation materials will be on the website. Maybe not the actual recorded meeting, but we have a long way to go. So
Thank you. And Commissioner Gilbert, did you have a comment?
My colleague
Said it
said what I was
beautifully,
going to say
succinctly.
much
Yes.
better, much
Yes,
better
she
than I
did.
would have.
Yes. Well, I have a comment.
I also have a comment,
Oh, okay.
but you can go ahead.
All right, what I was going to say is I wanted to offer my congratulations we have two commissioners who will be leaving. One is Commissioner Eklund and the other is Commissioner Reedy, who were both successfully advanced to or voted into the city council. So that's one thing to do, is to offer you our congratulations. We'll miss you. My
you.
next item that I wanted to share with you is that each month we have a meeting of coffee with the mayor. And I believe that the mayor goes out to several different HOAs throughout the year and invites constituents to talk. And Mayor Carlskin this year has been and of course, Mayor Gilbert, when he had that role, was very open with this, as all of the council members have been. Anyway, Mayor Carlskin brought our Christian Svenk to the meeting this last month that I attended. It was excellent. It was on community development. I think there were close to 40 or 50 people there. There was an excellent slideshow. He fielded questions, which we would expect him to do. But the thing that I think was important, which is why I'm saying this, is that we should never miss an opportunity to communicate with the people that we work with and we live near and we share information with. I think that's very, very important. But also, I was stopped at least 3 different times during that next week. And the comments were how excellent he was and how eye-opening it was to them. And so that was, my little coffee group down at Starbucks at 6 o'clock in the morning. And 3 different times I had that. So I wanted to say to you, thank you. I know those things aren't easy to do, but thank you. All right. Anything else? Then may I have a motion to adjourn? All right, roll, and we're adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeannie, you had a comment. I stole your
Because I
thunder.
think, no, that's why I wanted you to go first. I said, maybe she'll mention it. And you
Oh.
did. Thank you so much.